Hello, this is a non-review of The Inconvenient Indian by Thomas King, which, despite having a sample on my ebook, I actually listened to on audiobook. And this is my non-review, basically for myself on this channel here, where no one will ever see it. So yeah, it is The Inconvenient Indian, a curious account of Native peoples in North America. And as King says at the start, it's not a history book. He's not a historian. He quotes Pound, of whose politics he doesn't agree with, but who he agrees, he shares his idea on history, which is history isn't a series of events kind of laid out and atomized on a table, pinned down with labels of years on them. It is concentric circles upon circles upon circles. And in this series of kind of polemical personal essays on native history, which has got lots and lots of facts in it, King kind of lays out his kind of his account of this is a curious account of Native peoples in North America. It's a really hard book to listen to. A part of it is it is a litany. It's a very entertaining litany, but I would get from the beginning to the end of a chapter, I would sort of lose my thread, and I don't know if that's a part of that is just sort of the audiobook format. Part of that might just be that I am somebody who's used to history where we kind of try and do things in chronological order. I mean, he's definitely shaping things towards his kind of covering issues. I mean, the one handy thing of looking at it here is, we get chapter 1, Forget Columbus, which is sort of about kind of the bullshit histories that get put forward. Number 2 is the end of the trail. Basically hey, oh, sad, dying natives, they're just going to die off. Oh, too bad, too bad. Number 3, too heavy to lift. Number 4, one name to rule them all. Basically, the categorization of Native peoples, all this diverse culture, into one name to rule them all, one name to bind them. Is J.R.R. Tolkien fan. Number 3, we are sorry. It's like all these apologies that Native peoples are given without really particularly much else. No actual, we're going to come to terms. We're going to honor agreements. We're going to, figure out something other than a highly racist Indian Act in Canada and the American system to continue to fuck you over as we're saying we're sorry. Number 6, like cowboys and Indians. There's definitely a lot of stuff in here about kind of the pop culture. That's basically how a lot of North Americans know Native peoples, is through their depiction on film and TV and stuff like that. And, how kind of nonsensical that is, which, I think we can all take that. Don't get your history from, it's funny, we always say don't get your history from movies and television shows, but we can't help but get influenced by it, and it becomes the myth that becomes stronger than any facts that there might be around. Number 7 is like, forget about it. Why don't you guys just forget about all this? Like, let's just pretend everything. He engages in an exercise of like, let's just pretend that everything that happened before I think it's 85 or 87, never happened. And then he litanies all the horrible crap that's happened between 87 and 2012 when the book was published. Number 8, well, what do you guys want anyways? And it's like, well, it's kind of nonsensical to ask a giant, vast, diverse people who've all got different concerns, different nations, what they want. And number 9, as long as the grass is green, which is sort of, that kind of empty promise that was not actually put in treaties, but was verbally said to Native peoples who probably had a very strong oral tradition and actually thought that this might actually mean something. And it didn't. In a lot of treaty negotiations when they happened. And number 10, happily ever after, where King, I think you have to watch out for the funny guys, because oftentimes the funny guys are the ones who are the most dark, the most bleak, the toughest, and I think that's really kind of follows through with King. Very amusing, jovial guy who is fucking sliding those knives in every chance he can get, of like how fucking shameful and horrible and despicable all this is, and remorseless and merciless. And he's like, you guys always want a happy ending because it's North America, but it's, guess what? Fucking there isn't a happy ending. And he details, small victories, but also has a lot of kind of caveats of like, how well all this is going to go out. Wow, that's kind of interesting that that came out, that going through those chapters there, it's like, oh, see, now I have to give up to King that actually each one of those kind of personal polemic essays, and I mean that in the best sense of polemic, of angry, of opinionated, of an opinion on this stuff, because all history is opinion. It's interpretation supported by facts. And, I don't know, he's obviously picking stuff for his arguments. He's not a historian. He is a polemicist. And it was a book that rightly disturbed me and depressed me. And I guess to put it that way, I guess I'd have to say it's a success, because if I'd come out of this book going, things are going to be okay, it's not that bad, it would have been a fucking horrible book that you should have fucking burned. But no, this is a book that you come out of shook and depressed and saddened and still wondering where you're going to go from here, as a part of the white settler population that has done that to these people. This is my government. This is my history, squashing down on these people, trying to exterminate them, trying to erase their history. And as King says, showing their resilience, showing their creativity, showing, that they're still fighting and they're not going to stop fighting. Him thinking about his future generations. This book is, he dedicates it to for the grandchildren I will not see. So it's a thing. It's funny for a guy who doesn't want to atomize stuff. He's pinned all this stuff down on the table for us, driven in those pins, to try and make a clear-eyed, cold kind of look at what's happened, and to highlight the pain with humor, in a way that makes keeps you awake through the entire procedure. There's no anesthesia. The humor keeps on waking you up. You can't slough back. So hats off to Thomas King. This was a really powerful book. Yeah. And with the alarm bell, I will go off to work. I don't know. I'll probably look back at this and decide whether I actually do want to release it, because I didn't think I had anything to say, but maybe I did. Maybe that was something worth saying, worth hearing. I don't know. I'll check back and see what it says and go from there. All right, more videos later.